Is that really going to stop sexism? It just makes people mad because then they have to change the way they talk.
I put up a story on Twitter the other day about people that are raising their kids with they and them.
I saw that, yeah.
They're calling them babies instead of babies.
Fun times.
What the fuck is that? Like,
I think it's coming from, for some parents, it's coming from a good place. Like, they obviously want the best for their kids, and they don't want to limit the kid in terms of what they might be interested in. And I think because the media is telling them, if you let girls play with dolls, that's terrible, and they're going to end up, you know, not having any sort of prospects when they grow up in terms of their jobs, or I don't know. It's such a terrible thing to be female typical nowadays. But I mean, like you mentioned, it's biology that's going to dictate what your kids play with. And then in other cases, I think it's parents that want to be special.
Well, it's also weird because if your son is trans, it's totally fine for him to be female typical.
Yeah.
Like, it's celebrated. Like, if you have a trans son and he likes wearing lipstick and short skirts and prancing around, then he's fabulous. Like, there was a boy in New York, and there was this whole thing about he's the youngest ever drag queen.
Yeah,
and,
I saw that.
and everybody's going crazy, and people were angry about it. You know,
He's being exploited.
Yeah, some people were angry and saying he's being exploited by his parents, and some people thought it was wonderful that this kid was so expressive when he's so young. And then other people had a good point. They said, well, it's very sexualized. Like, how is this any different than someone who's in a beauty pageant, like a John Benet Ramsey type situation?
Well, if
when
it was
really young.
If it was a little girl, people would be up in arms saying that it's sexist and that it's the patriarchy. But that little boy, so I don't know that he's trans. I believe that he just likes to, like a man who's a drag queen is just a man. It's usually a gay man who likes to just, you know, like an extreme form of femininity. I love drag queens. But I think that little boy is likely going to grow up to be a gay boy. If you have a little boy who says he's a girl, and you see a lot of these trans girls, if they were left alone and they didn't transition, they would likely, research shows they would grow up to be gay men.
Is that, you know, I mean, I'm 100% for freedom, right? So I'm 100% for you being able to do whatever you want to do. The real question becomes when people are trans and young, it's how much of this is going to pass, and how much of this are you going to stop from ever passing because you're going to inject your body full with hormones? Like, are you giving yourself the opportunity just to decide to become a gay man versus become a woman? And would you be happier either or?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's very, very tricky.
But you can't even have that conversation now, because that's considered transphobic.
Right.
What it is homophobic, though, that you can't consider that some of these kids just might be gay.